Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line with your questions about buying this or any watch you see here on Watchbox Reviews or our website. Reach out to me at tmosso at thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the 99-piece Platinum Limited Edition FP Journe Octa Calendrier Ruthenium. Part of the Ruthenium series of 5 watches, each made in 99 pieces. This model was built from 2003 to 2004. 40 millimeters in diameter, it wears easily on the wrist, 10.3 millimeters thick, and 48 millimeters lug-to-lug, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. On the wrist, my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, it wears easily. The lugs are sharply downturned, which means ergonomically it's an excellent match for a smaller wrist. It's thin, it's flat, it has a domed bezel, it slides underneath any cuff no matter how tight, and I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. Let's take a look at hardware and software. The strap, medium rectangular scale alligator leather, semi-gloss black monotone stitch, a folded edge, and you can see gator on the bottom too. Gator on the top, gator on the bottom. More expensive than gator and calfskin. That's a combination that's common, but the double gator is more expensive and lasts longer. An FP Journe watch deserves it. Pull tab spring bars underneath to allow you to remove the straps without actually risking your skill with a strap tool or a screwdriver against the case finish. And as with the polished platinum case, you have a polished platinum pin buckle. Note that Journe uses curved spring bars so that the lugs can be drilled relatively close, allowing the watch to pull the strap straight down and narrow around a small wrist, but there's no impediment to motion because of the curved spring bar, and you still get a very integrated look with little daylight showing. The case band is handsome. It's defined by the lip of the bezel and the lip of the case back, and it has blended Calatrava-style lug profiles. All of this is in high polish, and you can see that the lugs turn down rather dramatically, so they have a compound curvature to them. The high-polished domed bezel, flanking a dial that's ruthenium coated, and you can see the knurled and double dimple characteristic Journe crown. That ruthenium coated dial, that is the namesake of the watch. That and the movement, anyway. We have an annual calendar that features a day, a month, and a retrograde date, creating a rather dynamic date complication that's an absolute blast to operate. Also note that the watch is designed for easy adjustment, as there's a quick set for the day, and then by turning in the opposite direction in the intermediate position, there is a quick set for the jumping retrograde date, and that is used to drive the month. Now you can see there's a black polished steel bezel around the hours, minutes, and seconds, and the dial side bolts, you can see them on the dial itself as well as fixing all the dial furniture. That was an FP Journe innovation from the late 90s that was derided at first and then copied by everyone. It has become incredibly influential as a style element, but you can only be first once. Can't beat the real thing. Ruthenium coated dial, and as you can see, ruthenium coated brass movement. This is the brass movement era of FP Journe. Watches made before mid-2004 had the brass movements, generally rhodium plated, but with the Ruthenium series, they were ruthenium coated for a darker, almost nickel anthracite look. Now the movement features a 22-karat Grand d'Orge or barleycorn style guilloche winding mass. This one has the original bidirectional winding system from the Generation 1 Octas. Make sure you keep that if the watch goes in for service. The timepiece has a 5-day power reserve, though in truth it'll run for about 7. FP Journe cites 5 days as the chronometric reserve. The watch is adjusted in a high horology or chronometer style 5 positions, and this oversized balance with large inertia has a free-sprung architecture to make it more shock tolerant. The movement, as you can see, is impressively dramatic in its range of gold, silver, and almost black ruthenium coat. It's a dramatic looking thing, and that was the idea behind the Ruthenium series, a watch that looked potent and powerful. Now of course you can see Côte de Genève across the bridges, the Grand d'Orge on the rotor, black polish on screw heads. There is actually a machined bevel on the edge of the bridges, and then an engine turned perlage under the hairspring and the balance. As with most FP Journe movements, it is a combination of hand finishing and machine finishing that is neatly done and in good taste. The balance beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and you can see the movement was made by Eleanor outside of Paris, FP Journe's original French-based case maker. You can see the Eleanor maker's mark, and then you can see the double hallmarks of both Switzerland and France on the case. So these Eleanor cases were only made up until about 2008 when FP Journe bought Eleanor moved it to Switzerland, turned it into his case factory, Boîtier de Genève. So having these older pre-2008 Eleanor cases gives you another element of discontinued Journe aura and attraction. So what's discontinued? The Ruthenium series, the brass movements, the Eleanor cases, and the model itself, as the Octa Calendrier passed away about a half-decade ago, making this a multiply discontinued and highly collectible, as well as highly practical, FP Journe complication and limited edition. It's 30 meters water resistant, so I guess that's the only knock against it. You'll have to buy an Elegant 48 if you want to go swimming. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.